Hi everyone, my name's Michelle and I'm Mama Loves You GB here on FlossTube, but also on Instagram and Etsy as well. Welcome to the Sunday morning briefing. Slight change of lighting today. I'm filming on Saturday morning because I'm heading to Mum's later and I just haven't got room in the car to take all of the stuff that I've got to show you and share with you, because I didn't do a video last week because I was at the fabulous Stitch in London, so I've got all of that to share with you, plus the sort of accumulations of the previous week as well. So I'm going to start off in the way that we've been starting off the last few episodes, and that is to introduce you to the latest owl in the collection, who has just become immediately tangled with the others. There we go. So this one is a little bit of a departure, a slight departure from the others, although along the same line. This is Winston. And for those of you who have already spotted, yes, my Parliament of Owls is named after previous British Prime Ministers. So this is Winston. Winston is a chick. So in order to produce him, I have used whisper thread to try and give him that fluffy, chick-like appearance. So I've used a cream colour for his face and I just love his furry feet. And then I've used a slightly darker one for the wings. So I've used 2 strands of whisper thread and 3 strands of DMC where I've used it. And I just love him. I think he's so cute. Now I did look back at pictures of Winston Churchill to try and find a suitable hat for Winston. And there are pictures of Winston Churchill wearing a top hat and pictures of him wearing a trilby. So I've kind of gone for the trilby. The trilby look at the top there. I just love him. I absolutely love him. So he is going to be available for you to purchase from my Etsy store. Herbert became available last week as well. Herbert was the one that was the freebie that was exclusive to those people attending Stitch in London. And obviously Stitch in London happened last week, so I can release him to everybody. So these are 2 that you might not be aware of are in my Etsy store. And I just love, I know I've showed them all together, but I just love putting them all together. Unfortunately, I haven't managed to get the tree up here. It's quite a big tree and it wouldn't necessarily fit. So I don't even think I can hold them all together. Oops. So there they all are, and they look fabulous all on the tree together. I'll try and get a picture of them all together. So this is Winston. Now I was having a conversation with a lady, and I can't remember if it's on Instagram or whether it was on YouTube, and she said, oh, is there going to be a Boris and a Liz? Well, I'm not sure I can bring myself to do a Boris, I'm sorry. And I didn't think I could bring myself to do a Liz, but I am. I'm going to do a Liz. Liz will be the last one of this sort of mini series, but don't worry, there are Christmas owls in the offing. So Liz is going to be the last one of this series. Now, for those of you who don't know, Liz Truss was a BBC. Where did I get BBC? A British Prime Minister. Was she the worst Prime Minister we've ever had? I don't know. She did manage to crash the economy quite quickly. Other Prime Ministers have done that in the past, but not necessarily as quickly as her. She was in the Prime Minister for 44 days. A grand total of 44 days. So there will be a Liz owl going into my Etsy store next weekend, but she will only be available for 44 days. So if you want Liz, and I'm stitching her up this week, if you want Liz when you see her next week, you've got 44 days, and I will tell you what the end day is, what her last day in my Etsy store is going to be. There will be a Liz as well. So you'll end up with 7 from this particular batch. And like I said, there are Christmas ones. I've become a little bit owl obsessed, I think, in the last few weeks, but they're so fun and they're quite quick to do. So when I was at the Stitch in London, I actually taught a class about finishing perforated paper, and a few people had stitched Herbert, and brought Herbert along. And so this is Herbert Asquith. The reason I started with Herbert Asquith is because I went to school with his, I can never remember if it's a great granddaughter or granddaughter. So that was Herbert, the first one. Let me see if I can remember the rest. That was Stanley. It was Stanley Baldwin. This was Margaret Thatcher, commonly known in the UK as Margaret Thatcher the Milk Snatcher. Oh, this is Winston Churchill. Oh, I've forgotten their names now. This one. These two, I tell you why, I'll fess up. These two, I always forget. I always get them the wrong way round because they originally were the other way round. And then I swapped their names. One of them is Neville and one of them is Clement. I think this is Clement that I decided on, and this is Neville. But originally they were the other way round. So Neville Chamberlain and Clement Attlee. So, yeah, a little bit of history there for you. I'll try and make sure that I have the notes to make sure I get those two the right way around. But like I said, in my defence, I originally had them named opposite. So in my class at Stitch in London, I did a perforated paper finishing class, and it was really, really good. So we looked at the owls, and I'd also taken all of my other perforated paper finishes and I hung them all on the tree, just to show you. Now, if you've never been into perforated paper, these are a little great finish. These little sleds with these I've got from the Barn series. So these little sleds are made by a company whose name I'll put across the bottom. I want to say Fox Hill, something like that, but I always get it wrong, so I'll put the name across the bottom. And then lots of people do different charts to fit the middle. So this is the small size. There is a medium one, and then there's also a big one. So that's the big one. And again, lots of different people do the charts that fit on, and they're a great introduction to perforated paper. And then I'd taken my other ones. Now I finished a couple of extra ones at the retreat because obviously I had to have one to show people how to do what I was doing. So at the retreat, I finished one of the Satsuma Street Halloween ones. So I finished that one at the retreat. That's another Satsuma Street Halloween one. And this is another Satsuma Street Halloween. Then I have got a couple of Mill Hills. So, oops, I've got a Santa, another Santa, whoops, and this one, which I turned into an ornament. I think it's actually meant to be a magnet, but I turned it into an ornament. I'm going to put a little something else on the top here because it's just got a white thread. So this is the bear in the canoe, which I loved. So I did this one just before the retreat, just to check and add a slightly different technique that I wanted to try. So I finished some extras, took them all there, and we had a great finishing class. It was really, really good. Right, let me show you some other stitching then. So I really fancied a new start for Stitch in London. I just, you know, when you get that thing, you just don't want to take anything you've already got, even though I took a massive bag, and here comes the rain. I took a massive bag of stuff. It just wasn't, nothing was quite settling. So I bought from Peakside Needleworks an ink circles. Now I had a bit of an ink circles moment in time, if you like, and I'll tell you the reason for that in a minute. So I bought this one. I'll take it out of the plastic. It's called Another Year Creeps By, and isn't that just the way things feel at the minute with November being round the corner? So I bought this one, and I really like the fact that when you look into it, it's got skulls and axes and syringes and eyeballs and bones and all sorts of stuff. So I picked that one up, and I bought the called for flosses, which are mostly, in fact, if not all, Classic Colourworks. There we go. So they're all lots of different beautiful colours. And then I went through my stash to find a fabric, and I chose a Fox and Rabbit 36 count called Sea Fog, which was a previous fabric of the month. And let's just take that out of there. I've got the first block sort of started, nearly finished. I've got a little bit more to do. Now this fabric is like a green, perhaps you can see it a bit better there. It's like a pale green, but it's going to look really beautiful, I think, with this design. Now, the eagle-eyed amongst you will notice that the first block there has skeletons, skulls on it, whereas the block that I've started there is there. Because when I looked at the chart, I just was looking at the shapes and I thought, oh yeah, that's the one. And it took me ages to realise that the one I'd actually started on was this one. Not that it matters a jot, but I just kept thinking something was off. It was just, well, I'm sure it was a different colour to that. And then I actually looked at it really carefully and realised that I've sort of started stitching this one. So I love these bats in the corner and these borders. So I'm going to sort of gently plug away on this, one strand over two on 36 count Sea Fog by Fox and Rabbit. But I really like that one. It really hit the spot for me. So much so that I joined the Ink Circles Patreon. Now, the Ink Circles Patreon has got 3 levels. There's one that's sort of $2 or $3, which is just kind of joining in. You get access to the Patreon, you can vote and see videos and things like that. All the sorts of things that I never really have time to do. Then there's one that's about $8.50, where you get a small chart each month. And then the next step up, which is quite a big step up, is something like $42.50, and you basically get every chart. She will send you every single new chart. And I was like, oh, as much as I'd love every new Ink Circles chart, I don't think I have room to stitch that. Although that doesn't usually matter. But it just felt that was a big jump. So I went for the £8.50 one. And I'd seen over the course of the last year, I suppose, some of the Ink Circles Patreons, and I was always really, really delighted with them. But I hadn't thought about joining. So this time I joined. But what I didn't realise is that when I joined, I was able to go back through and I got all of the Ink Circles Patreons. All of the ones that have been on the $8.50 tier for the last 2 years, 3 years. So I have got so many of these beautiful smalls. So this is the one, oops, oh, we better crash, the first crash. This is the one from September. And it's that one. And she actually gives you some different designs to go in this shield at the top. How lovely is that? Because I've got quite a few variegated flosses, because I really like the look of a variegated floss, and I buy them quite a lot, but then I don't always stitch with them. So some of these designs I think are going to be absolutely fabulous. And this is what, 60 by, the actual design itself is about 60 by 85. So beautiful. And if you know Ink Circles, you're going to understand what those sort of little designs are going to be like. So that was a real treat this week to join onto that, excuse me. Right, Stitch in London. Stitch in London was amazing, absolutely amazing. It's what I would call a real stitcher's retreat. People stitch there. They sit around and stitch, they go to other tables and stitch, people are constantly taking pictures, writing down. It's just a massive kind of enablement fest. It's amazing. And you get to speak to people, and this was the first one that I went to 12 months ago, and it was so nice to see some of those people again and just really feel that you're making really strong friendships within the stitching community. And the stitching community are the nicest group of people, and we know that. So what did we get from Stitch in London? So we had a pack, and there was lots of things that arrived during the retreat as well. I think I've sort of gathered most of them in the pack, so I'll show you what we've got. So the piece for the retreat was a piece by Jacob from Modern Folk Embroidery called, whoops, 10 Merry Sailors and Their Loyal Dog, which I really, really liked. And it came with Roxy Floss in, which colour? Great Lakes. There we go. Came with Roxy Floss in Great Lakes and some extra orange floss. It's not part of it. To stitch it with. Whoops. And the fabric, which was a Zweigart. Now you could pick what count you wanted. So I went for a 36 count. And I started mine whilst watching the rugby in the bar on the Saturday night. So this is why the placement of mine on the fabric is dire. Because I started it whilst I was watching the rugby. So I got a little bit of a start. I know some people have finished theirs already, but I can't wait to make it into sort of like a stitching mat or a needle book or something like that. Might make them a nice big needle book, or a little pouch, just something nice to remember going to Stitch in London, having such a fabulous time. Now we also got a little floss drop card from Charly Feathers. Everybody got one. They were all different, I think. Now, she also gifted me another 2 sets of these for myself, and she's given me some to do as a giveaway. So I'll do the giveaway in a little while. So we also had a titanium sample from Roxy Fosco, because that enables you to stitch one of the designs that were free, and that was from Chloe, Girl with the Gavel Stitches, and it's this kind of mattress pin cushion. How fabulous is that? How fabulous is that? So I haven't started mine yet, but I can't wait. Some people were stitching it over one, really. And I think Hannah, who is Hannah Stitching, who also did a freebie for the class, and is part of the booklet, and I'll show you or tell you about the booklet in a minute. She pretty much finished it, so that was amazing. So we had that, and then we had, what else did we have? A needle minder by Cotton and Clay, which says Stitch in London 2023. We also had a little finishing pack with some buttons and some charms, and then some rick-rack, and not rick-rack, that bobbly stuff, the bobbly stuff that you put around the outside, that stuff, and some little cotton reels and things like that. So we had a finishing pack, and I'll leave that there because I'll explain why it works with those colours in a minute. And we also had a little chart from Yasmin's Made with Love. Let me just, which, as you know, she's been doing her Gnomes Around the World series. And so we had the Halloween one. No, hang on. There's more in there. There's 2. There's the Noel one and the Halloween one. And another little chart from Yasmin, which I'll sort of hold back there. It's a heart-shaped one, and it's got a little gift code on it as well. So amazing, amazing support from those people at Stitch in London who are designers. Speaking of which, we put together a group of us who were either designers by the time the last Stitch in London happened, or have kind of become designers since then. And we put together a booklet of 8 Christmas designs. And I'm going to try and put some pictures up in the corner here because all the models were on display, and this was for folks to be able to purchase at Stitch in London. Now I know Marie, who is Stitches and Diamonds, has this booklet and is considering either producing more or may still have some left to sell. So I'll try and find out from her what's happening with the rest of the booklets or what the future of the booklet is, because it was amazing. It was really amazing. I've got my contribution here, and this is called Birds That Sing. So it was a little ornament, well, reasonably big ornament, but an ornament, birds that sing and bells that ring. And all the designers had used 3 specific colours as their colour palette, where you could buy the little packs at the Stitch in London. It was a red, a green and a yellow. So all of them used those sort of colours, and then maybe a couple of extra ones. So I just finished mine as a little. If I can find out from Marie about those booklets, I'll put the information in the drop down box. Now I have to apologise, I've been rubbish with the drop down box the last two episodes. I'll try and tidy everything up over half term, which is now. Yay. So there's that one. I liked that one. I really liked that one, the way it turned out. Lean it there amongst the rest. So I had so many lovely stitchy gifts from Stitch in London. As I said, Charly Feathers gave me 2 sets of floss drops. Now she paints all of these. They've all got these individual little drawings on them. So this is a set for Stitch in London. So we've got all these different London sort of icons on them. It must take her absolutely hours. They are so special. Thank you, Charly. And then she gave me a smaller set as well, which have just got lots of different colours on them. Beautiful different colours, and she gives you a little sticker on the back so you can write the floss colour. And then she also gave me some of these. I just love the fact that they're all different. Aren't they beautiful? Now I know she sells these, so I'll link her her stuff below and you can go along and grab some, because they really are super special. So I have got 2 sets to give away. I have got this set here, which has got a bird with it, and then other little birds all the way through. And then I have this set here, which are the sort of slightly smaller set there. So I'm going to call this one the bird. So if you want to enter for this one, then if you can use the word bird. And if you want to enter for this one, I'm going to use the word sunset, because that first one reminds me of a sunset. Okay, so sunset, all one word for the smaller ones. Bird for the bigger ones. If you want to enter for both, then obviously you can have a bird and a sunset. I will post these out to the winner. I'll leave it open for a couple of weeks and I'll post these out to the winner. But they are amazing, and I don't think I have to say, I don't think I appreciated that until I had them in my hands, how just special they really are. Somebody has taken the time to go through and draw and doodle all of these beautiful little things. So thank you so much for that, Charly, and it was lovely to meet you. She's the sweetest lady. So bird or sunset? Let me put those somewhere safe. There we go. And what else? Ooh. Lots of lovely floss cards. Whoops. Some I'll have to pick those up. Some lovely cards from Hazel. I think she's made these from some Christmas cards ones and some Christmas paper ones, and they look amazing. I wouldn't have thought of that, but I do now. I'm going to put those down there because then I'll pick them all up. And then people were coming around with these. Really nice. I just found a bit of an affinity for this lady, and I'm not entirely sure. Is it Martha Washington? Yes, it is Martha Washington. There we go. And Kerry from Roxy Fosco gave me one of her needle minders with the bird on. It's all about the birds, it seems. And she gave me some little buttons as well. And then I had a lovely, lovely conversation with a lady called Anne-Marie, and she hugely helped me out with my Irish sampler, the one I showed a couple of weeks ago, Mary Brennan. So yes, that was super exciting, really exciting. Within like 8 hours of talking to Anne-Marie, we'd found the building in the, I say we, I had nothing to do with it, she'd found the building in the sampler and was able to tell me why she thought it was one place rather than another. So we have a lovely little keyring, but obviously that's going to go on a stitchy bag. Lovely bookmark. Little, these are great for putting like stitch pieces on them for the Christmas tree. And ooh, I'd forgotten about that, Anne-Marie. That will, I'm gonna put that there. So there's all sorts of lovely things. And then Somi Sarah I met as well. Again, the sweetest lady. And she had made me this lovely little pouch. Let me see if I can, sort of like a scissor pouch or whatever you want pouch. And it had some tea in it and a DMC and some of these little clips which you always need. So for any of you going to retreat and it's your first retreat, a lot of this takes place, the kind of swapping of gifts and things like that. So that's one thing I would say to you, is do go prepared with just a little something, because people do come around and hand things out. And actually quite a few people handed to me the what do you call them? I call them ring bling. These little ring blings. And said, oh, we used your tutorial to make them. So that was really lovely. What else did I stitch there? I took my Patchwork Rabbit advent box with me because I couldn't not, and I wanted to open the envelopes. So this is the advent box for Halloween, not advent box, 13 days of Halloween. I'm just using the word advent because you open things one a day, and that's what you do in advent. So it's the Halloween box. But they are also this year doing a Boxing Day box. Now I love the idea of this. Love it. So the idea is that they send you this box, and after Christmas is done, Boxing Day, you find a quiet space away from everybody else with a cup of tea, glass of wine, whatever you want, whole bar of Toblerone, no one's judging. You say what you like, and you sit there and you open them. And it's after you've done everything all day and all holiday for everybody else, you get this time just to yourself to sit down and open this advent box, Boxing Day box. That hits the spot with me. That really hits the spot with me. So I should be getting one of those. So I had opened the envelopes, and I knew that the designer was going to be Colleen, Rebel Stitcher. So this is Colleen's design, Midnight Garden. And so we have had, bit by bit, all of the things that we need to stitch, and I've still got some envelopes to go, to stitch Midnight Garden. Now mine was 40 count. I don't know what this fabric is. I've got a feeling it's a fibre on a whim, but I'm not 100% sure. And then we've been getting, oops, needle, the flosses, which are all Classic Colourworks. And we had a beautiful little tag, ring bling. This is what I mean by ring bling, but don't search for that on Google. You probably won't like what comes up. And then we had this amazing pin as well. Look at this pumpkin pin. See if it'll focus. So as I said, I've still got three more envelopes to open up. There's another one there. And we also had a corner gauge with pumpkins on. How lovely is that? So I wonder what will be in the next few envelopes. But I'm really loving this design. It's so cute. I am getting more into 40 count. I'm getting more into 40 count. I've always been all right with 40 count, but probably would have preferred 36. But the more I stitch on 40 count, the more I love it. So we might see a bit of a movement to 40 count next year. So that was fabulous. And for those of you who've got the Halloween box, I hope that you've enjoyed it. It's been a nice little something to open in October. Still at the retreat. What else did I get? I won a raffle. Now, I don't think I've won a raffle at a retreat. In fact, ever. I don't think I have. So, and boy, what a raffle to win. The raffle prizes were amazing. So they had vendors there. Ness with her craft bags, and they had Yasmin's Made with Love, and they had a Stitchy Ferret and Megan from Kofi Crafts, all this amazing stuff. And they donated to the raffle. So this was my raffle prize, this beautiful bag by Ness, and I was lucky enough to sit next to Ness at the table. So she's so lovely, so lovely. Really, really well made, beautiful bag. And then it came with all these charts. So Prairie Schooler. That one's called Song of the Season. This is Home for Christmas. This one is Christmas Traditions. And Happy Christmas. And it had a Blackbird Designs one as well. This one is Early Christmas Morning. Now, I don't actually think I've got any of those charts, which, to be quite frank, managing to win a raffle where you don't actually have any of the charts, or the majority of the charts, is quite amazing. Having said that, there was a chart there from Ruthie from Kofi Stitching, which I do have. It's a fabulous Merry Christmas chart. I already got it, so I did pop it on the freebie table. I did tell Ruthie that I had, so that somebody else would have it, which meant I got to pick something off the freebie table, and so I picked this one. I'll probably change the colours, and maybe not stitch it quite as it is. That might end up as just a little 4-patch square, but I really like their little patches there, so I grabbed that one. What else have I done? I haven't done as much stitching. It's been a hard 2 weeks at school, really hard 2 weeks. But I have got some purchases. Some more purchases. Some of them came from the Stitch in London. Some of them are completely blameless from Stitch in London. They are just my own fancy. Now, Elfin Forest sent me this one because they knew that I'd done their other bird with the pumpkin that I'd done as an exchange piece that actually went to Pumpkin Hollow Quilts in America, Olivia. So they sent me this one as a little thank you and a little freebie, and they've given me a code to give to you guys, which I shall put along the bottom, and it's for use on their website, not their Etsy store, because we all know Etsy takes enough already. So this is for use on their website, and I'll put that along the bottom. But I love this one, so I'm going to restitch the one that I gave away and then stitch this one to match. Now, I have to say, both the retreats I've been to recently have had smalls exchanges. I also have to say, you folks are better people than me, because the things people were giving away, oh my goodness me, the smalls were out of this world at both the retreats that I've been to recently. So like I say, you folks are better than me. If I made something that beautiful, I couldn't give it away. Oh my goodness. I made 2 purchases from Etsy. This one is from Northumberland Sample House, and it is being sold in aid of the Red Cross, and it's called July the 1st, 1842. And it is actually just the top of a sampler that Anita owns. Let me see. I've seen a picture of it, so where did I see the picture? There. There we go. It's just the top of a sampler. And that's all there ever was. So either this girl was very much like me, wasn't that fussed on finishing things, or it got something happened to it in its 200-year life. Or nearly 200-year life. But I just loved the colours of that, the sort of charcoals and greens and yellows. So what colours are we looking at? Browns, tans, blue green, avocado green and dark grey. So it's all stitched in DMC. It's only about 5 or 6 colours. If you've never done a sampler before, this could be a really good little introduction for you. And it makes, I really like these samplers that give me a different shape on the wall as well, rather than just being a rectangle. I really like these ones that give a different shape on the wall. So go and grab that one. I also bought this one. I've been looking at this one on Etsy for a long time, this little French sampler. There's just something about it that I really, really like. There we go. Beautiful. I'm going to have to just lean forward and grab the rest. I've got some more purchases here. A variety of different things. Let me show you this first of all. I got this from eBay. This is a little antique pin cushion and it's in the shape of a witch's hat. It's dark green velvet with a silk ribbon. How beautiful is that? And these little old pins still sticking out of it. Ooh, love that. Try and get that on my screenshot, shall I? Lovely. Just for Halloween. I was going to wear a Halloween headband today and I forgot. So I shall add that to my collection. I bought a piece of this on a stash unload. This is a Picture This Plus Pampers. Now I'm not sure I'd ever heard of Picture This Plus Pampers before, but it's a really beautiful, beautiful green. I love it. Really love it. Oh, probably about there. It's almost like an ethereal green colour. So I'm going to have to find something really cool to stitch on that. Now, at the retreat, I bought a couple of other things. Kerry had a little stand, well, a big stand really, with all of her flosses. So I bought 4 skeins of Inappropriate. I just love their names for their flosses. I bought 4 skeins of Inappropriate for a red sampler, possibly that French one. And then I went back and this had appeared and it's a little pack of all the different reds. So let's have a look and see what we've got here. Now, if you've never tried Kerry's threads before, they are amazing. So let's have a look. So they're all different. So this is the darkest one, which is Fallow Red. Another skein of Inappropriate, which is good because I was torn between 4 and 5 skeins, so a bit more room. This is Lucille, sort of a brighter red. 11 points more pinky, cheeky. Somebody outside. And 11 points. So this one is a bit more variegated. So I can't wait to use all of those. Amazing. I bought these from a stash unload. The Rabbit and the Rose from Brenda Gervais with Her Needle and Thread. And also this one, which is an older one, which is called Cat Tricks, which I don't think I have. Although I am reasonably confident that I need to buy a new filing cabinet and need to go back through all the charts that I do have. And then I bought this at the retreat because Marie had a few charts for sale. She had a few from Prairie Schooler, sounds nothing like. And this one from Hello from Liz Matthews. And I love this one. And I'm such a consumer, I'm so easily led. Right next to, oh, I need that. Ooh. Right next to the charts was Coffee Craft Fabrics, Megan. So I took this chart with me and I got the blue and I got the grey. Now it does look a pale blue, but it is actually more of a grey. So I have got the fabric for these two. Now, why did I do that? Why didn't I just wait to come home and look through my stash? If you are going to join two fabrics like this and you want them to meet up, you probably need to get them from the same dyer, because all dyers use slightly different processes to dye their fabrics, and it will affect effectively the count. So whilst it's still being sold as a 36 count or a 32 count, once it's been through the dyeing process, that can change. So if you're trying to achieve something which is has got two different fabrics in it, you need to get them from the same dyer. So she recommends two different ones. One is Picture This Plus and one is Weeks Dye Works. Now, having stitched on both of those, I know that Weeks Dye Works is a heck of a lot more loosey-goosey than Picture This Plus. So I'd stick with the same fabric dyer if I were you. And then I also put these two up from Yasmin's Made with Love. Animals on Parade and Winter Games. I've wanted Winter Games for ages. Nearly there, nearly there. I've been left unattended, what did you expect? These are my Classic Colourworks Threads of the Month from Lakeside Needlecraft. So we have Dublin Bay, Dolce di Leche, Embers, Eggshell, English Ivy, Erin Go Emerald, Eve's Leaves, Thinly Gold, Fanny Green Nancy, Fanny Green Nancy, and Fallen Leaves. There we go. And my last couple of things. I've got the results of the giveaway from the Ruthie, Crow's Feet Stitching. She sent me those 3 Halloween charts to give away, or those 3 kind of October autumn charts. Captain Chaos is out there already. So I'm going to put a picture up of the chart and a picture up of the winner. So the one that was the word autumn was won by Nanette McDougall Dykes. Fabulous, fabulous name. I love it, Nanette. Congratulations. October was won by Leslie. I think it's Grey. I think it's Grey. It's the way I've written it. And then Halloween by Laurie Bowen. So if you can get in touch with me, then I can get you those charts by PDF. And my very last thing, I wanted to say a huge, huge thank you to a lady called Kitty, who sent me this lovely card. And she also sent me, all the way from America, this big file of charts which have got the Santas on them from the Leisure Arts magazines. So she said, some for me, some to pass on. So you know how much I love a Santa, so I'll try and show you some of them. These are amazing. So these are the originals from the magazines. Some of them have been reprinted into some of the Leisure Art books that I've shown before, but not all. I love that one. That's one of my favourites. There's that one as well, with all his toys, because Christmas is going to be here before very much longer. And you know how much I love a Santa. So I took my Santas as part of the brag table, And oh my god, the brag table was amazing as well. I might try and put a little video on the end of here, because I only took my the video towards the end, and some people have already taken theirs. I love the comment on this. This deer needs to fatten up. Thank you, Kitty. Right, last one. There we go. So I just want to say a huge thank you to Kitty for sending me those, and for everybody who's been so kind to me across the retreats. And I just enjoy meeting you and talking about stitching, which I could do for hours and hours on end. I will see you next week. I've got news of that sale that I wanted to do with the houses from Pinker and Pumpkin Blogspot, and I'm also going to show you the advent calendar has arrived from Roxy Foss Co. So can't wait to see you next week. Stay classy, Stitchers.